welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you guys are new. My name is Allie, this is my daughter Olivia. I post weekly videos on my YouTube channel, so if you guys are enjoying what you're watching at some point in today's video, if you can pause and subscribe to my channel, I would greatly appreciate it. It helps me out a lot. Now let's get into today's video. Today we're getting a little bit personal. I'm going to be sharing with you guys my 10 postpartum baby changes. This is the good, the bad, the pretty, the ugly, the changes I'm super proud of, and the changes that I could probably live without. I'm going to be sharing both the physical and mental changes of postpartum because yes, a lot happens to our bodies. Lots of things are moving around and our bodies are going through immense change. But at the same time, there are also so many mental and emotional changes your mind and your soul go through as well. What better time to talk about it than when my boob is out feeding my baby? That's right, my first and my biggest physical change that my body went through postpartum is to do with these babies down here. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love breastfeeding and I'm super happy I did it. I think it's such a magical bonding experience you can have with your baby. But if you choose to breastfeed, you're just gonna have to accept that it takes a huge toll on your body and your boobs are probably never gonna look the same. They're always gonna be a bit different. I am almost a year postpartum, so I feel like I have a pretty good idea of what my boobs are going to look like for the rest of my life, at least until I have another baby, and then it might just continue to go downhill. The first change I notice when it comes to my boobs is stretch marks. They're not like super noticeable where they're like really dark or like you look at them and you can just like immediately see, but it's something that like I notice. And when you're breastfeeding, your boobs are constantly like filling with milk and they're like doubling in size, and then you feed your baby after like they have slept all night long and they drink all the milk out of you, so your boobs are like constantly like getting bigger, getting smaller, getting bigger, getting smaller. So of course that is the reason why stretch marks occur in the first place. So it's only natural for them to be there while I've been breastfeeding. I don't know if they're gonna like fade even more throughout over time, but it's been a year and they're still there. Another change that has happened with these babies right here is that they are extremely sensitive. I don't know if it's because I have a baby constantly like sucking on them all day or what, but they just don't like to be fondled with at all. My daughter will often like drink off of one boob and then with her finger like play with the other one, and it's like the worst feeling in the world for me. So a change in sensitivity is definitely something that I have noticed. The last change I have noticed is to do with the size of them. And the size does not mean they're going from like bigger to smaller or smaller to bigger. It's like they're different sizes. I am still breastfeeding, so it could partially be because of that, but I thought that this would go away. Like when you first start breastfeeding, your body doesn't really know how much milk to make, so you'll get extremely full and then your baby will drink off of one, so then one will be small and one will be big. So I knew that that was normal, but I'm like a year postpartum and I think my body knows how much milk I need, so I really don't think it's a matter of like one boob has more milk. I think it's a matter of one of my boobs is bigger and one of my boobs is smaller. It's kind of awkward to say, but at the same time, I think it's just like a reality for so many women. So why not talk about it? Why not address it? Just let other women know out there that you're not alone. Postpartum change number 2. That is phantom kicks and pressure. This has started happening to me quite recently within the last couple months here, and I'll get these like little flutters and little kicks that clearly aren't there. I don't know why I'm feeling them. It's so strange, such a strange sensation, but it really brings back such a happy memory because when I was pregnant with my daughter, I loved feeling her move, her little flutters, her little kick, and I miss that. I honestly miss that. So I don't know why that's happening. The first thing I thought is like, man, I hope I'm not pregnant. Got my period, I'm like, okay, not pregnant. So I know I'm not pregnant, but I'm still experiencing these little flutters, these little kicks. They don't happen all the time, but they happen often enough for me to go like, okay, that's a little strange. Pressure. Pressure is one of those like negative things that I don't love about postpartum. I get so much pressure like down below, you know what I mean? If I'm on my feet all day, or I'm working all day, or I'm cleaning the house all day, or especially if I have my period, I get like extreme pressure and it's super uncomfortable, and I think with more exercise and more therapy, there's hope that that will eventually go away. Number 3, this is an amazing change. That is less painful periods. Before I had my daughter, I suffered from like extreme pain during my periods. I would get so sick, I'd be on the toilet all day, I'd be nauseous, I'd have so much pain, I'd have to take medication. I understand that some people are like, oh, like periods aren't that bad, like you're exaggerating. No, I honestly believe some women go through like more painful periods than others. So I definitely had like severe periods. After I had my daughter though, my periods are like, they can be painful a little bit, but they're like nowhere near what they were. Along with less painful periods, I actually have shorter periods as well. So before I had my daughter, my periods were already kind of short, like 4 or 5 days. Now, postpartum, my periods are 2 days long, 2 to 3 days long max, which is absolutely crazy, but I'm super lucky. I don't know if it's because in those first 2 days, I bleed so heavy that there's like nothing left on the 3rd day. I'm not sure, but that's a pretty cool change that I'm willing to accept as well. Number 4, better self-love. Throughout different times in my life, I've struggled a lot with self-love, and when I got pregnant, I found this like new self-love that I've never had before, and that love has kind of carried through when I gave birth and now postpartum. I definitely treat myself, I think, a lot better than I ever have in my life. When you're a mother, you see how beautiful your children are and how amazing they are, and you would never imagine them having any imperfections, or you'd never look at them and say that they're ugly or that they're not good enough. If I would never critique or put any beauty criteria or pressure on my daughter or my children, why am I doing that to myself? And I want to be a really good, positive role model to my daughter. So if I'm not having my own self-love, and if I treat myself poorly, and if I'm not happy in my own skin, how am I going to raise a daughter who is confident and proud and who isn't so worried about her looks? I think another part of this self-love I feel is because I think I'm really proud of myself. Like, I'm not so focused on looks, and I'm more focused on like the person I am on the inside, and I'm really proud of like the mother I am. You know, I spend a lot of time with my daughter, and I'm a really engaged and focused mom, and I do a lot of activities with her, and I think I treat her really good. And because I treat my daughter so good, it makes me love myself because I'm happy with how I treat her. Going through having multiple miscarriages, having a super hard pregnancy, giving birth, and now taking on this huge responsibility as being a mother, it's shown myself that I am so capable of so many things, and I overcome all of those struggles. And sitting here today, I'm just so proud of all I have accomplished when it comes to motherhood and pregnancy and giving birth, and I think I'm doing a pretty good job. Number 5, sleeping through the night. When I was pregnant, I was getting up every 2 hours to go to the bathroom. Then when I became a mom to a newborn, I was waking up every 30 minutes to 2 hours to feed my baby. And that's kind of just like carried on through the past year. It's been really difficult for me to sleep through the night. I'm also like a really light sleeper now, so any kind of noise, any kind of movement, I'm up. Even on those magical nights when my daughter stays asleep and doesn't wake up at all, I still wake up to either go to the bathroom or just to check on her. Now that I'm a year postpartum and my daughter sleeps through the night quite a bit, my sleep is finally getting back on track. I'm able to get in a deeper sleep and sleep longer. While we're on the topic of sleep, Another postpartum change is not having the energy I used to. I used to be like a super energetic person. It didn't matter like what time of day. I was just like up and at 'em and ready to be productive and just like this big ball of energy. Now as a mom, I find it just like a really hard task. It's like a really enjoyable but really difficult task, and it really takes a lot out of me. So I have not been able to get like that oomph and that like energy back ever since I had her. But right now it's like been really difficult for me to like have the energy to work out and be active and keep up with like work and YouTube and taking care of her. So I feel like every single thing I do is just requiring more energy than ever to get a task done. Number 6, hair growth. When I was pregnant, that was the best I've ever looked in my life. I had this pregnancy glow. My hair was so long and so full and so thick, and I grew all this extra hair, and it was just amazing. I always struggled to grow my hair. When I was a teenager, believe it or not, I used to be blonde. I used to dye my hair blonde. Sometimes I was smart and I went to the hairdresser. Other times I did it at home, which you should never do. So because I always used to damage my hair never was able to grow properly. I tried to grow my hair for years and it would like not grow past my shoulders. Then I stopped bleaching my hair and I was like, Kate, I'm gonna get my hair healthy. But it still did not grow. It wasn't until I got pregnant with my daughter that my hair grew, and it grew a lot. Like my hair was literally up to my shoulder. I got all this new hair growth and I loved it. It was like finally. Then postpartum hit. Like instantly after having my daughter, my hair started like shedding and falling out in like massive pieces. The part that I saw like the most damage was like up in here. It's still not the best, but it's a work in progress and it is growing back now. But I'll try to find some photos and insert of how bad it got. After postpartum, if I wore my hair in a ponytail, this part was literally like bald, like absolutely bald. I lost like all my hair up in here, so anytime I had like my hair pulled back, it was so brutal. I hated it. I couldn't put my hair in a ponytail. It was just the worst. Now that I'm a year postpartum, I do have like a lot of regrowth and a lot of like flyaways, and I accept them. I am happy to get all those flyaways and all that baby regrowth because it means that my hair is finally growing back. So be prepared to have like your dream, amazing, beautiful hair and then have it taken away. But don't worry, it will come back. It will come back. Number 7, this is that my productivity went up. Productivity and multitasking. I have always been like good at multitasking and I've always been like a productive person. But now that I have a daughter, I am like forced to multitask and be productive. Like she only naps between like 30 minutes to like an hour and a half, give or take, depending on the day. You never really know. So when she's napping, you better get ready for the day. You better do all the cleanup. You better do meal prep. You better do your YouTube videos. You better do your YouTube editing. You have to get everything you want to do in within that 30 minutes to an hour and a half. And that's difficult. So you better learn quickly how to be productive and multitask. My fiance can vouch for me on this one because as soon as like our daughter goes down, I'm like, okay, what's the plan for the day? Like, let's go. And I like force him up off the couch and I'm like, you know that we only have like 30 minutes to get this done. Like, what are you doing sitting down? So I think it's like a good thing, but my husband might disagree because sometimes he calls me like Drill Sergeant Allie, which I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I don't know if that's a compliment. I don't know if I'm a little extreme at times, but you gotta be like productive when you're a mom or you're not gonna get anything done. I used to just like enjoy doing nothing and I'd be completely content just sitting on the couch watching movies all day long. Now, as soon as I wake up, I'm like, okay, let's make a plan for the day and let's stick to it and let's get a lot done. I also have this like new profound need to succeed. Being a parent, you obviously want to be successful. You want to create a stable life where you're bringing in a good enough income to support your family and your children. So I think that's kind of like where my need to succeed comes in. I just want to do good by her, and I want to make sure that we're set up for the future. You know, it's never too early to do that. I graduated from nursing just before I had Alethea, and my fiance just graduated like last month. So when we had our first child, we really like didn't have a lot of money. We're kind of starting off from like the lowest of the low because we were students. So I have to be productive so that I can spend time with my daughter while still being able to support my family. Number 8. This is maybe like a not so good one, but my anxiety has gone up. So I've always kind of like suffered from anxiety, been like a very anxious person, and in certain aspects my anxiety's gone down. So I don't really worry about, am I gonna find the right husband? Am I gonna have children? Am I gonna be able to have children? You know I can have children. I know I have a good family. So that side of my anxiety is all taken care of. But other aspects of my anxiety has increased. And that is like my fears. So I have these like reoccurring negative bad thoughts that are like always happening in my head. I'm constantly worrying about like really negative bad things, like getting kidnapped or my daughter getting kidnapped, or like me being home alone, and like I'll be in the shower and I'm like scared to shower when I'm home alone, and I'll like vision somebody coming in, taking Alethea, and then coming into the shower, and like I look over and they're holding my baby while I'm like vulnerable in the shower or something. Leave a comment down below if you guys are going through what I'm going through, and if you suffered from like high anxiety about irrational, very scary thoughts about someone hurting your child. I would like to know that I'm not the only one. I also have like less tolerance for scary movies. In my teens, me and my friends would stay up all night and just watch horror movie after horror movie. I loved horror movies. Now I cannot watch horror movies. Like, I'm so scared of horror movies, and I avoid them because I know I have that like high anxiety. So I'm worried that like if I watch it, it will just make it worse. Number 9. My whole body is just more sensitive. Like if I get touched or like hugged, or like if somebody's in my space, I'm just kind of more like, I like my personal space. I think it's because my daughter is like joined at the hip with me, and she's always on me and she's always needing me. So the time where she isn't on me, I like appreciate my personal space. So when someone comes into it, I'm like, okay, you know what? I've been needed all day, and I just kind of want to like be by myself right now. And certain areas of my body are more sensitive. Like if my stomach gets touched, I think it's because I had a baby in there and things are still kind of healing. Maybe my muscles are still repairing, but my stomach, it doesn't hurt to be touched. It's just like uncomfortable. Number 10, this is an overall appreciation for life. I have always been like a person to be super connected to nature and super connected to people. I always see the good in people, and I always trust strangers. I've always been like that, but now more than ever do I just have like a deeper connection. People can be very like close-minded and in their own box. They can say like, my family has the deepest, closest bond than any other family in the world. But now I realize, looking at other families, I'm like, I can see how much love you share in your household and how close that bond is. To find a soulmate, to find a spouse and bring life into this world and raise them and take care of them and go through all the ups and downs and all the challenges, like, you become so closely connected. And now I can understand how other families feel. Like, I can look at a family who are strangers and I have no idea about their life or what they're like. I know that that family loves each other and has like a close bond, because how could you not? it's magical. It's magical. Also, I have this like appreciation for my parents that I've never had before. Before having kids, I looked at my parents as like, yeah, I love them, and yeah, they're my parents, and I knew that they loved me. But after having my daughter, I know how much they love me, because the bond you have with your children after being pregnant with them and then giving birth to them and then raising them and going through all those ups and downs, you build this connection with your kids that is just unexplainable. So now when I think of my parents, I just have like such like a personal deep connection with them that I never understood before, and I just like love them even more than I ever have, because I know how much hard work they had to put into me in order to raise me and provide for me, and that's a big responsibility. So I really appreciate them and all they did for me, because I know what it takes to raise my daughter, and I've only had to raise her for 1 year so far. So to do that her whole lifetime, yeah, you'd have to really love somebody to be able to provide for them their whole life. Shout out to you, mom and dad. My connection with nature has also just completely expanded. I've always been a super outdoorsy girl, and I love to go camping and be outside. Because I love nature so much, after having a daughter, I knew that it was essential for me to find a career that I can expose my daughter to nature and to culture and take her all around the world. That's where YouTube comes in. That's like the sole reason why me and Andy started this channel. He has been in school for 6 years. He went to university for 6 years. I went to university for 3 years. And both of us, at the end of it, we liked what we did, but at the same time, we're not gonna be miserable if we have actually never worked a career in our lives. We want YouTube to be our primary career, and you know, some people say that's like shooting high and it's not realistic, but it is realistic. I want to show my daughter the beauty that life has to offer, and I want to take her all around the world. I don't want us to stay put. Like, we live in Alberta. There's a lot of beauty in it. Like, you know, we have the Rocky Mountains and there's lots of hiking we can do, but it's limited. Anywhere you are in life is limited. So for me, I feel like it's a responsibility of mine to show her all the different beautiful places in the world and all the beautiful people in the world. And that's the end of today's video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up and take a moment to subscribe to my channel for more great content. I hope that these 10 postpartum changes that I shared with you guys helped prepare you for what you may expect in your postpartum journey. Every woman and every postpartum journey is of course going to be different, but I hope some of the changes I went through you may be able to relate to, and this maybe better prepared you for what to expect. And for some of the more personal things, I hope you feel like you're not alone and that other women are going through the same changes as you. I wish you luck on your postpartum journey. You are beautiful and you should feel empowered and strong. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.